What's up, everybody? I'm Bob Walters. He's Brett Grosso. This is Mets Extra, a product of Locked Up Sports. Welcome to the show, Brett. What's up? I threw this together last minute, so if it doesn't sound right or there's something wrong, don't worry about it. But hey, big win last night, right? That was a good one.
Huge win, and one that you thought you were going to blow it, right? And when Diaz blows it, Mets,
he was due to blow a save, though. He was due to blow a save.
Everybody, in New York's already tucked in. You're like, this is going to be a good night. You're ready to go to bed. And all of a sudden, now you got your heart beating again. Now you can't go to sleep.
Yeah,
Mets
no,
pulled
it
it
was.
off.
Hey, listen, he blew it, but it was, you know what? He blew it. It was a sac fly. It was Ohtani who got both the RBIs. Again, Lindor, right? How good is Lindor? I told you. A leadoff home run, and then he gets the big hit. Because the second run in the 10th inning is always the biggest one, because they're gonna start with a guy in second too, and it was huge, and it ended up being the game winner.
Yeah, no, you look at that big Alvarez hit, like you kind of said, who's going to get the big hit?
Called the Alvarez hit.
Alvarez has the big hit. Really gets us going. And it's just nice to get that way. I mean, listen, that was, like you said, no break between games. Mets went right out to L.A.
We were calling it a punt game.
It was, and then you go the start we get from Paul Blackburn. Oh my God! Like, it's incredible that that's the one and only start you're going to get from him. Then he's going to go right over to the bullpen. It looks like. How nice!
How nice! That was weird too.
No, but he looked good. He had a whole bunch of different options. All of his pitches were working. Honestly, just outside of that monstrous Ohtani home run.
And the ball wasn't carrying last night either. And he crushed it. But you know what? You could live with that if you're going to give up just that.
100%. That's what you kind of have to expect, right? You gotta claw out a win. You get a win there, and now all of a sudden you got a reset. You got a good feeling going into Game 2, Mets Dodgers, and here we go. And then we got some fresh blood coming up tonight for the Mets.
Yes, we do. But wait, he's been up here before, right? He's been up. He's called up. Vientos hits the IL. And he's been through 2 years of just knee injuries and surgeries. Rebirth.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's been a long time.
But he was good. Do you remember when he came up? He was hitting the ball in the nose. He was hitting it hard.
He was the guy.
Yeah.
We weren't talking about all the other guys. He's the guy, and all of a sudden we had a reset, and we lose him for a whole year. We expected him to be a big part of last year's team, and we did all we did last year without him. And that was and now let me tell you, kid's been hitting. He's been hitting in the minors. Say what you will about that, right into the lineup, switch hitting, huge. The kid's a monster.
Yeah,
we're not talking about some little guy.
Big time player. And what is he a shortstop? Is he third baseman?
He's third base, shortstop. He's like an
infielder, right? He's like an infielder.
Well,
because I remember they had to play second a couple times when he was up.
Well, they have to. Yeah, they have to. They didn't expect this. They expected Vientos to be third baseman and never leaving there again, and that's all changed this year. Now, all of a sudden, it's Beatty. We think Beatty's a better look over at second. You'd rather have McNeil fill in the outfield, and you have him for second also. But the truth is, he can take this position and run with it. He's a switch hitter, so there's no reason to keep him out of the lineup.
Let's see what he does first. He's hitting like 500 in the last 2 weeks down in the minors.
Yeah, no, which means not what we're about to find out though. But this kid's ready. He's not, like you said. This isn't like coming up like he's never been here before. He's been here before. He's produced before in the majors prior to getting hurt in whatever that was, 100 games or whatever it was that he played. Pretty good sample size, got some pop, and you stick him in the middle of a much better lineup than he was coming up in back when he was coming up then. Now you put him in the middle of this lineup, that's when you can actually get these guys and you go, wait a minute, when you're a winning ball club and you're going out, that's when you can afford to bring in kids like this and give them a go and see what happens.
Yeah, hey, listen, and you know what? And they're playing real well. They've won 8 of 9 or 9 of 10, something like that. And a lot of people were saying, a lot of detractors, I guess, whatever ones there are, were saying, well, you beat the White Sox, you beat the Rockies, but you know what? Now we're playing. We played the Dodgers now real well. They won 3 out of 4 against the Dodgers. They got McGill.
The only game they lost is that extra inning game that they probably shouldn't have lost anyway.
Yeah. Yes, they came back, but no, they probably should have won. They probably should have lost because they had to have like a 3-run comeback in the ninth inning. They had like
5 opportunities to win that game.
Yeah, you're right. They did. But back to last night. Another thing I liked about last night is you know what? The guys who have been basically untouchable and just playing fantastic weren't great as far as the pitching goes, right? You had Brazaban who came on and he didn't have it. He struggled through. He walked 2 guys. He got into a monster jam in that 6th inning, and he was able to get out of it. I like to see that because you know what? He toughed it through. He didn't have his good stuff, and he was still able to get out of it. Got the big strikeout to get out of the jam and get out of the inning and keep the Mets with the lead. And like you said, Blackburn, I don't know if I'd be sending him right to the bullpen. I might. I would at least want to see what McGill did today. And if he kind of stinks it up, maybe send him to the
question
bullpen.
Mark. Yeah, I think you're right. And I think McGill's start today, now you look and you go, wow, you're going against Clayton Kershaw. Now, it's not
an aging Kershaw.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't even know. But again, how many times have we seen these guys all of a sudden come up versus the Mets and throw a nice 2-hit gem, show that they
Clayton Kershaw can always throw a 2-hit
gem.
right
before he's about to die, they come back and give you one more, breath for you.
Jamie Moyer or something.
Yeah,
but I mean,
he's great.
But Clayton Kershaw can always, because he's not a hard thrower anymore, really. He throws but he's got that 12-6 curveball that's really good. And
the real question is, what is Tyler McGill? What is Tyler McGill going to give you? We've seen both. We've seen that real kind of honestly real nice ace like Tyler McGill, and then we've seen the other one who loses command, giving up the big hit, and I just don't know. It's tough. He's got to earn his way.
He's been inconsistent. He's been not very good. I'd say he's been inconsistent. Right? Inconsistent as being good, being generous to him. Because he's been more on the bad side than he has been good, and he's the odd man out.
As of late, he started off a little bit, but as of late, you're exactly right. That's definitely, it hasn't been back and forth. It's been on
I don't know, some with his mechanics. I remember hearing them say something with his mechanics, but you know what? Last night I stayed up. I was up. I stayed up to the whole thing. I watched the game, and they rewarded us because, like I said, it's really a pain in the ass when you stay up till 1:32 in the morning, and then they lose. And they were headed towards a loss there, even in the 10th inning. Right? That comebacker up the middle. I mean, talk about a save, right? The comebacker up the middle, right back to the box, and Budo makes the good play, kind of snags it between his legs. But again, Alonso with an error, right? Again, that's maybe a thing, a point of concern that you got to think about. He's got a little Mackie Sasser in him these days. He's got a little Mackie Sasser in him.
Yeah, but and the problem's not like his ability or that he's got bad hands. His problem is now it's in your head.
Yeah, it's Mackie Sasser.
Once it gets in your head, it's a totally different thing. So it's like, how do you unteach that? And it's like you don't and if it compounds, like God forbid you have another one today, it's like that's so many now. Like how many has he had?
Brett, there he is. There he is, Brett. Everyday Mets. What's up? What's up, Everyday Mets? You weren't here last night, and I apologize for not seeing your comments. I was telling everybody we just learned how to put the comments on. So welcome to the show, Everyday Mets. How you doing today? Thank you for joining us. Listen, like I said, with Alonso, he's going to figure it out. But it's annoying because it's a first baseman. He can't throw home. He can't throw home. It was that one against the Yankees where he airmailed it. And ever since then, he's got a mental block where he can't throw home. Yeah, and it's just you can give up those things versus games like the Rockies. You cannot do that versus the Dodgers. Do you see that inning that's the classic inning that would cost the Mets. You give him that one extra guy. Next thing you know, it was hit, and it was one single spot away from that game turning very different for the Mets. And that's all on an infielder not being able to make a routine play. And that's the stuff where you want to win championships. It's one thing. You get that out of your system now because that stuff can't happen in the playoffs. That's the stuff where it's like, it's on that thin line. Are you going to win or are you going to lose? And that's going to be, tightening up that defense, figuring out who is our third baseman. Is it Ronnie Mauricio? Is it Vientos? They got a logjam. They got a logjam at third base.
We don't know what's going on right now. We have no clue. We have to play out another, 100 games just to figure out who this team is, which is a good problem to have. But right now, it's really like, we know who's going to be at certain positions. We know Lindor. We know Soto. We know Alonso. And we know who's going to come around. But of these kids, is Beatty really Beatty that we're seeing this week? Or is he Beatty from a couple of weeks ago? Is he, is Mauricio the guy coming off? Is his knee going to be able to hold up? And how's he going to be able to move over at third base?
And I'll tell you,
is Vientos' hamstring a big deal?
I called Alvarez. And Alvarez that was a big hit last night. Don't get me wrong. But he looked lost. In the other plate appearances, he was lost. I mean, those were terrible at bats. He was swinging 3 feet over the ball. He was chasing pitches 3 feet outside. He looked bad. He kind of ran into one in the 9th inning, and it was a huge hit. And he muscled it over the right fielder's head. But
Yeah.
overall, last night, I'd say Alvarez looked garbage at the plate.
And honestly, if you just gave us a couple more of those, or a couple more of those solo shots, or a couple more of those, like don't have a great game, but you hit one out, like that's the Alvarez we're missing. We used to have like, maybe, we just have some pop. You'd be scared to have Alvarez coming up. And
Alvarez was a good power hitting catcher, and he just hasn't have it.
And not for a week or two. He sustained that for a while. We're not talking average, and we understand he's a catcher, and so you're not going to get that much out of any catcher. Like, there's no Mike Piazzas ever again, But he had something. So we know it's there. He just got to find it. And, when you're lost at the plate, you're lost. Like, you don't ever – it must look like – it looks like nothing. Like, great hitters, and Barry Bonds sees it like a beach ball. He's seeing this thing like a ping pong ball coming in. And he's lucky he got one last night. Maybe that turns things around. It gets him. He's a big mental guy, so once he gets his head in the game, feels good about himself for a first time in a while.
He strikes me as like a kind of guy that like something goes wrong during the day, and he just checks out, right? Something wrong, like he gets a flat tire or he gets something wrong with his car, and he just checks out, and he's ruined the rest of the day. He's a mental.
But something good happens to him. Something good happens to that guy, and he feels like he's God, and he's gonna crush balls at the plate, and that's the Alvarez we need back.
I got him.
That mentality of I'm gonna crush ball mentality. I love Alvarez.
But you know what? I saw something
since we've seen it.
The other day when I was at, I don't know if it was the game, one of the games I was at with you, or I was there by myself, whatever. I think I was there by myself. I think it was when they lost to the White Sox. Alvarez didn't play, and he was sitting there, and he was being a jerk to these kids that were right behind, like pretending to throw the ball and then being like, nah. And putting it in his pocket, and he didn't give him one. It's not like, he did that and he gave him one.
You don't know how that ended. They played that whole thing at the end. You never know where that ended.
I guess you're right.
I'll give you that if it was like they were just there, honestly, that's half the story, right? The kids had fun. They're on video. Alvarez is playing with them. Look, we're joking with Alvarez. They don't care about balls these days. They care about the video they got.
Everybody cares about these balls, Brett. It's unbelievable to me with the adults that stand up.
No, you're right.
Please,
but kids,
please.
You're right. But the kid cares about that interaction on video. Oh, look, Alvarez did this, and I was on video, and it's on Instagram of me and Alvarez joking. He pretended to throw
that
me the
and
ball.
The shirts.
That's like a bigger.
The people with the shirt. People are killing each other over these shirts. Listen, they're not terrible. They have a Mr. Met.
Okay, that being
said,
but
it's a
when
Citibank
ball
shirt.
Comes up, when you're sitting there and that ball or that shirt come anywhere near you. You can't tell me your brain isn't shift right to being a sports guy.
Try to sit at this point. I try to sit down. I just don't even stand up. And I listen. I was 2 rows off the dugout, so I told Mr. Met. I yelled to him as he was throwing him. I said, "Check it down, check it down," and he checked it down to me. So I did get one last week. But as far as I'm not gonna spill my drink. It's a $30, but it's a $30 drink that I got here. That's not even worth it. Real T-shirt.
That's a totally separate issue that you have. That
people spilling drinks all over the place. For these T-shirts and these balls that they're throwing into the crowd.
See, I don't know about you. See, I wouldn't have spilled the drink, Bob. That's the whole game. Is you want to be on. Listen, Bob.
But the last time a ball came our way, you spilled your drink all over me.
Yeah,
the entire drink.
The ball ricocheted off you into my drink.
No,
don't even start. That was a square ricochet. And don't even get me started because that was its own thing. But no, you're right. Honestly, I don't even care about the ball. I don't care about the shirt. I honestly directed. I'm sitting there behind the dugout the other day, and the team and I was pointing out. I was like, "Give it to the kid," because they were like, they look at who they want to give it to.
You have to give it to the kid. If you catch it, you have to give it to the kid.
I was like pointing to Mr. Met and Mrs. Met, and I was like, "Give it to," and the kids were getting it. And I was actually, we were getting kids involved. So it's not about us, Bob. It's about the kids. But let's. I was trying to get Bethany a T-shirt, and we fumbled it the other day. You got
my wife a T-shirt, and you still haven't given it to her.
Oh, I got it.
We're talking months now. I'm over here making excuses for you.
You gotta stop by. You gotta stop by the OG Gunzel studio one of these.
So
days.
let's get So let's get tonight's lineup.
Here we go.
Going. You got
hold on.
For. There it is. You got Lindor, Marte in the lineup. DH and hitting second. So, but Nimmo not in the lineup tonight. Soto hitting third.
No, you got Nimmo.
Oh no, you do have Nimmo. You do have Nimmo. You're right.
Just weird
Soto, Alonso, Nimmo, 3, 4, 5, and then you got Taylor hitting sixth, and then there he is, Mauricio 7th, Alvarez 8th, and McNeil slotted in the 9-hole. McNeil's been hitting well lately. He's kind of coming around, starting to hit.
I like them putting Mauricio up there, not just throwing him in the 9-hole like, oh, you're the last one here.
They treat the 9-hole now kind of like a second leadoff spot.
No, you're right, but they want Mauricio to say, "Here, kid, you're here to actually produce. We're not just sticking you at the bottom like you're here to play. Like we want you to get in there and produce." But we'll see. Marte sitting there in the 2-hole. Hopefully, he can start doing something. Start showing me something. He gets that.
He
one
pinch
home run
ran.
once
He
in a
pinch
while.
ran last night. He scored I believe he scored the winning run, the 4th run. I'm
Listen,
not. No, no. Yeah, he did because
Acuna.
Lindor
Which one?
dribbled
I
down
missed
the line, down the third base line. But you know what?
Listen,
hey, listen.
he's got to listen. If you want to, this lineup is going to be tough. It's going to be tough to stay in this lineup now. If Mauricio starts playing well, and when Vientos does come back, Marte's going to have to start playing. I'm sorry, it's going to be DH spots are going to be a toss up between who's playing Mauricio. Is it Vientos? And then you all of a sudden you're like, where does Marte fit in? I mean, you need it as an outfielder, but something's going to have to give soon in this lineup.
Yeah, well, like I said, they got a log jam on the left side of the infield, right? On third base, they got 3 or 4. Well, I don't know why they were drafting these third basemen every year. It's pretty because they're all right around the same.
If they all start playing well, who's going to be around? Is someone up for trade? Are we all staying on this Mets team? Is someone getting traded at some point? Like you're right.
Someone's going to get traded. Someone's going to get traded.
Is this just auditions? Are we in the middle of auditions?
I think it's going to probably be Beatty that gets traded, or that's who I would probably want to get traded. Ooh. Because he's been. Listen, I know he's playing well.
Hate him.
Because he's not. You know why? Because he's been more bad than good. It's been more bad than good with Beatty. Okay, he was no good in the playoffs. He was no good the year before we were making the run to the playoffs.
We've been waiting for this moment, right? We've been waiting for this moment of Beatty to have value.
Yeah, but exactly. That's the problem. Is everybody all of a sudden someone's hitting and they don't want to trade him. Of course you don't want to trade him, but nobody else wants him then too. If they want to trade the guy who's slumping and doesn't hit and is hitting 130, nobody else wants that guy. Is what you got to realize.
You think if Beatty hits till the deadline, you think that the Mets are gonna have the balls to trade him if he's hot?
Yeah, I think
then?
You know why? Because you get yourself a stud. I don't know. I don't know who. You don't know who's going to be available.
No, I don't know. Seriously, because right now,
you get a big name starting pitcher or something.
Paul Skeens, you're talking part of a monster deal?
He's not going to. No, Paul Skeens is not. The Pirates aren't going to trade him. The Pirates aren't going to trade him. Let's be real. That's the only thing that the Pirates have.
No, and I'm not saying for Beatty. I'm saying for they want a bunch of guys. But no, you're right. No, but they have nothing. That's the point. If you have nothing and you only have that, and you're not going to be able to pay him in a couple of years, it's a tough choice. You're right.
But do you trade? I mean, and to be honest with you, maybe for that reason, because he's probably going to have Tommy John, right? We were talking about this the other day. He's headed for Tommy John, right?
I just don't see the Mets, after everything they put into him and finally getting something out of Beatty and thinking that he might be the third baseman and saying, wait, Vientos is hurt and off and not playing well. Maybe he's the guy who's not going to be there. We might need it. That's kind of the game they were playing, was which guy works out, and we'll let that rock.
Because, listen, if Beatty hits straight through to the deadline, okay, then maybe you have something. But Beatty's track record is that he's not going to hit straight through to the deadline. He's had a good 3 weeks, and all of a sudden everyone, yes, he's stealing the third base position from Vientos right now. That's a fluid situation. Third base is a fluid situation. Let's be real.
No, right? Very much so. You look at Mauricio's the one playing third base. It's going to be Beatty at second, and there's a good chance he spends a lot more time over there. Let me tell you, I have no clue. A couple of these guys got to hit. If everybody hits, great. Some people, Vientos right now is playing himself out of the lineup on top of injury, just in general, how he's been playing. But let's see, man, there's someone's going to be the odd man out, or, someone's going to have to give, maybe it's Acuna going down to the minors for some time. Maybe it's Alvarez at some point. Maybe Alvarez needs to have a little adjustment. So,
yeah,
we're gonna see, man. I'm excited. I'm honestly very excited to see Ronnie Mauricio. I know, I just think that he's a guy who the Mets are not on we're gonna ever trade him. I think he's a guy you're gonna see, wearing the orange and blue for a very long time.
Listen, and who, Beatty? So who you want to trade it? Oh, Mauricio. Who you want to trade?
Mauricio.
Vientos? Because to me, Vientos did it for a full year and was big time.
I'm
big time in the playoffs.
I'm a hoarder like that. I keep them all. I'm a hoarder.
Yeah,
They're all
young
talent, young, cheap talent that are versatile. Most of them can play all these different positions. Someone's going to get hurt. At some point, you are going to go and trade. There's plenty of, you have to realize, the other prospects they have, there's a bunch more that play those same positions.
That's what I'm saying. We got log jams, right? You can't just keep them all horned infielders.
No, I think the next group is ready now to be traded. I think that we have a whole bunch that are on the edge of outfielders and infielders, and it's an interesting time But some of these are going to play him out. I don't know who's going to be bad. All these guys don't always end up being good. You know, one of these guys is going to be good, and the rest are probably going to be average, if not below average, major league
We
players.
got like 3 years now with Beatty, right? We got like now with this is the second year with Vientos.
I remember
Beatty
yesterday
overall
and the day before. I remember 2 days ago. That's all I remember. I don't remember what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, listen, the Beatty
I
has
remember
been
the future.
overall
I see.
a net negative, I think. And it's always he's Lasting's Millage. He's lasting. One of them is going to be Lasting's Millage, right?
One of them is. You're right. Definitely. Yes. One of
right
them we're
now,
going to look back
right
and
now,
be like, remember?
Yeah, but you want to make the popular. You
how-
want to make the popular answer. You can say right now, oh, it's going to be Acuna because Acuna stinks, right? Because he hasn't hit in 2 weeks.
No.
Or
Yeah,
you could
but
be like,
last
oh,
year
it's
you would've
Beatty
said
next
last
week.
year, if you asked me last year, it was Vientos is going to be the most amazing Met ever. Like, and now you look back, and
Hall
I
of
don't
Fame.
know.
He's
That's why you.
You don't want to trade. You don't want to trade Acuna because Acuna might be
them,
Jeff Kent, right? Or
You're right. There's some amazing thing out there, but you don't just trade him to trade him. You need something good in return.
Of
And
course, but you're gonna get something good. If you trade, although if you trade Beatty,
Beatty's trade value in the eyes of major league talent is the same as you. They don't see that. They're not fleeced by the last 2 weeks.
no, I get
You
that,
know,
but
like-
you are fleeced by the
so-
last 2 weeks. You're fleeced. You want Beatty now. Beatty's the next big thing.
I'm all for. Listen, what have you done for me lately? If you want to
That's
keep
what I'm
hitting,
saying.
keep hitting. Major league hitters aren't guys who are supposed to be good. They're guys who do it and are doing it right in front of my face right now.
But everybody
Barry
gets
Bonds,
hot for 2 weeks. Everybody gets hot for 2 weeks.
Yeah, to a point. Not Beatty ever, so now he is. So this is it, and he is.
Beatty's
So
had some good streaks. I mean, he's been all right.
Bob, how many times in this world does it just click for guys and it works, though? There are times where it happens. Not that they're going to be some elite superstar, but you become that something happens where you're that major league guy. They've always known it's had it. Everybody we see it. Not me or you. We're not scouts. But every time you hear them talk about it, they go, there's never a time where Beatty didn't do this, where he didn't hit, where it wasn't awesome. We don't understand. We don't understand.
Yeah, because it's the major leagues. Some players just can't play in the major leagues.
He is not a surprise who came up. Beatty is a suspected, this is what happened. Not all of them were like that. Some of them became good or developed better. Beatty was always great, and now it's happening what they expected. So I honestly believe that you're going to see a little bit more out of this. I think Beatty might be hanging around. And I think all these guys are going to hang around, to be honest.
What do you think about this? What do you think about this, Brad? Where he says Vientos is good. So you're going to put Vientos at first base if Pete leaves? I don't think Pete can leave. They can't let Pete leave now, right? Like, what do you do? Who's going to be your first baseman? I don't think it could be Vientos. It's very. Everybody wants to say just throw the guy at first base. You just got to catch like it's the little league.
Let me
a
tell
lot
you,
involved
barring
in playing
some
first
trades,
base.
they have options coming. They have options coming up through the minors. We saw it this year. They have first baseman. And I'm telling you, they're not worried about it. They are not really worried about Pete leaving that much. As you see, like the pieces they've brought on, and not to mention that if they can go find someone else who's going to be, nobody's Pete. You know what I mean? Like, we love Pete. Nobody's going to be Pete.
I was ready to get him rid of him. I was getting rid of him. Well, yeah, I wanted.
If Pete wants to stay, I think they might even be willing to keep Pete for the right number. I don't know if he's going to be willing to do that.
Yeah, but you don't do the right number. If you're Pete Alonso, you don't say I'm saying for the right number. You could now make a ton of money. He's having a huge year, Brady. He's like an MVP category type of, he's a candidate. He's going to make the All-Star game. He'll probably win the home run derby.
The same thing for a whole nother year. I just don't know if they actually offer him anything that's even close to that. So I think you're right.
You have to, right? You have to. He had a good. They're going to be. You know what's going to happen is they're going to be kicking them. They're going to be kicking themselves. The Mets made a mistake.
You think the Mets offer him anything?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They'll make him a qualifying offer. But no, I think they will. They'll try because they have to get him back now, right? Who's going to play first base? Like everyday Mets here said, I don't think Vientos is going to play first base because there's a lot more than people think you could just throw anybody at first base, right?
No, you're right. No, but Pete Alonso kind of is that guy. Pete Alonso is the big hitter that they decided that needs to be a first baseman because this guy can crush. He rakes. We're putting you at Florida. And yes, you're a first baseman. Let me tell you, he became pretty good at it.
Yeah, he's not a bad
guys
first
can
baseman.
be. I don't think Vientos is. You know what? I'm not going to say Vientos isn't that guy.
You'd rather have a lefty. You'd rather have a lefty, too.
No, Vientos isn't that hitter yet. He did for a spurt last year. If Vientos becomes the hitter, then you can entertain the reason to bring him over to first base.
He did it for the year last year. That's what I'm talking about with Vientos. Like you're saying a spurt. He had 30 home runs. How many home runs did he? Hold on. Go ahead.
No. I totally agree that this is a fluke for Vientos. He is going to produce And I think that it is like a smart move that Vientos could go over there. I don't doubt that. I just think that like Vientos may have a bad year this year. You know what I mean? I think he's going to be great.
Vientos
You know what I
probably
mean?
is going to have a bad year.
No, very much so.
But that's why you have to look at it. What do we? That's why they get paid money.
But for a guy,
scouts.
yes. And then and it's all these questions we were just asking before of where do these other pieces fit? You can't make these decisions until you decide who's fits where. And let me tell you, they are right now in the middle of a big audition for everybody of who's going to be playing, where you're going to be playing, how you handle the big leagues, how you handle the pressure, how do you handle being bad, how do you handle being good, Beatty? Being bad, we know how you handle being bad.
So here,
how do you handle being good? Vientos,
do you think you're going to ever get?
Going to handle being bad?
You're going to ever get this number? These numbers from Beatty. This is Vientos last year, okay? It was the only year he got 413 at bats. He had 27 home runs, 71 RBIs, 33. An average of 268, an OPS of 837. I mean, that's a super. That's a star. That's a star. His postseason numbers were even better. He had that big home run in Philadelphia.
And my response last year, and I hold by it, is I think Vientos may be the most prolific numbers guy in Mets history one day. I believe that.
Okay, so then you don't want it. So you're okay. So then why you even? Because he's going to be a third baseman. If that's the case, he's third base.
Bob, I don't think
you can't even play around with Beatty.
I think if anybody gets traded, it's like Acuna. And not because of he's good or bad right now. I'm just saying I don't think the Mets care. I don't think the Mets care like that. I feel like they have the pieces, and right now they're like, unless there's somebody so amazing that we can't go buy as a free agent, like they're not going to buy a pitcher. You go look what's happening right now. You know, there's a pitcher right now, Tommy John, out for the year. Well, not Tommy John. I'm sorry. Elbow surgery. Corbin Burns. Sorry. No, Corbin Burns. Big deal, right? He just signs the major 7-year deal, and all of a sudden he goes, "Oh, my elbow's done."
Yeah, the pitchers, I don't know. And like, listen, I just think if we give away, I think if they trade Vientos, I think they're trading Jeff Kent.
I just don't think the Mets are going to trade away guys that they have faith in. I think they have faith in all these guys that are up, and there's a reason why they're up. I think those guys are around. I think the next batch coming around are all maybe going to get traded. But I think these guys might be in, all of them, around for a while, and they're all going to find their piece, and one may be at first base.
27 straight wins for the Mets when Lindor homers. He's been the best leadoff hitter in the game since they moved him there. They've been the best team in the game since they moved him there. Listen, he's the cornerstone of this franchise. I think Lindor, forget about everybody else. Now, the Vientos will be playing long after Lindor and Pete are done. But that Lindor right now, if the Mets are going to win a championship, I think it's in the next 3 years. They got Soto, prime, hitting his prime. He's just hitting his prime, Soto. Let's be real. Soto's going to be okay. But you could be pissed off that Soto's not okay right now. Pete might be gone. I think Pete will probably be gone next year, and it sucks. Because the Mets don't like paying these guys, right? They don't like paying these guys like big money in their 30s. He's going to get big money from somewhere, and God bless him, he's got to take it. He's an idiot if you don't give the Mets a discount. That's not how it works. As much as we all want it to, it's not going to happen.
Let me tell you what's going to get
and
the Mets.
He's not getting that $90 million either. Yeah, he's not going to take that because they offered them that last year.
And let me tell you, this might be the year where they have to do it. This is one of those things where they may have to push it right now, and it may have to be Alonso.
It might be the owner, but it would be the owner. It would be Cohen because what Stearns doesn't want any part of it. We know that Stearns won't even fix the pitching.
And I don't know. Yeah, I don't think there is a lot of big pieces coming. There may be, if there's some starting pitcher who becomes available, maybe something like that where they actually decide to give up some pieces for somebody. But I don't even know if that's it. But that might be an expiring contract they can get for middle ground. But I don't know, man. I don't know. This is like the window for me. But it's gonna come down to these new players. Do they come up to? Does someone have a year in the postseason or late like Vientos does? Does Mauricio have a year like that? Can Beatty continue his success? If those guys, imagine, Bob, there's nothing in this world that says they all can't play well. I know we're like Mets fans for life, and we're like, oh my God, it never has happened. We've seen it fail so many times. Imagine players surrounded by such a good team with such quality
team full of third basemen.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about this lineup right here. You're right, but I'm talking about this lineup right. right here.
You know what I like? I like Tyrone Taylor.
Whether or
I like
not
Tyrone
you
Taylor.
want to sub in Marte out and Vientos in is the only difference, to be honest with you. That's where I would change.
Yeah, and Alvarez, but Alvarez will get it going. And Nimmo,
Well, Alvarez is going to catch on too. We've said he's done it in the past. So
Nimmo's
honestly,
not great.
There's nobody here who doesn't have a track record of being a good major league player outside of Beatty, who's in the middle of doing it and proving himself. So,
right, well,
I think this is it, man. I think we have a good run this year, and I think Mauricio may be a big part of that. And I know we're looking at him like he's some new kid coming in.
He is a new kid. We've said that about Lefty
is,
Millage.
but
We've said that about. I can run
kid-
through all the prospects that we said that about when they came up, and then they fizzle out. So more often than not, players
Bob
do
is
not
the
become great players.
Biggest Mets pessimist when it comes to any of this stuff working
why
out.
would I not be?
And
Why
it's
would I
so
not be?
hard to change the mentality of someone when you give them a whole new owner and a whole new team and actual talent. That's the one thing that the Mets never had. We had one talented player surrounded by a bunch of, quadruple A players. And so at this point, I truly believe that this is going to pan out better than it normally did in the past for the Mets. And that's what's going to propel them to hopefully pushing past, the Dodgers and the NLCS or whoever it is that we're going to be facing.
We'll see how it goes. Listen, you got a future Hall of Famer, Clayton Kershaw, on the mound tonight for the Dodgers. If you haven't watched him or your kids haven't watched him, do yourself a favor because he doesn't have much time left. And he is one of the all-time great left-handed pitchers in the history of the game. He's going up against McGill, who's got 4-4, 3.52 ERA. Hasn't been great lately. Pressure's starting to mount as these pitchers starting to come back from injury. They got a big win yesterday. They won 8 of 9. Let's see if they can get 2 from the Dodgers tonight and at least even guarantee a split in this series, right?
Yeah, listen, right now, you know what I can tell you, and I've seen it? McGill's mom, Julie McGill, is taking a shot. She takes a shot right before every son
She
starts.
loves us. She loves our show.
She does.
Mrs.
Big
Mama
fan.
McGill is
Enjoy
a big
the
fan
shot.
of
I
Locked Up
hope you're
Sports.
running in. She's usually at the beach. Hopefully, maybe she's at the game in L.A. Let's have a good start, McGill. He was great for us last year down the stretch. He lost something.
He's a good solid third or fourth starter. We'll see. He's struggled
Big
lately,
drip.
and the pressure's
Big
going to start
drip.
to come. So let's see. Mets, Dodgers from Chavez Ravine coming up in about 20 minutes. For Brett Grasso, I'm Bob Walters. Everyday Mets. Thanks for joining the show. We'll talk to you tomorrow, everybody. From the Brian Gunzel Studios. See ya.